In accordance with Wisconsin open meetings law, the required public notice of this meeting ran on the LCCA website and did it get on the front door? On the website. And the LCCA mission is to train the minds and improve the hearts of young people through a content-rich classical education in the liberal arts and sciences with instruction in the principles of moral character and civic virtue. Would you please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom?
Yeah.
You'll have less.
Back. Yeah, Tom, you want to put us on mute? We're getting a lot of background noise.
You want me to go on mute?
Until you're ready to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, please.
Got it.
thank you. Thank you. That's fun. Extract.
All right, so let attendance show all are present, Tom by phone. And then our first item was to adjourn the closed session, but I think we have determined under the circumstances we no longer need to do that. So I think.
Next time.
Well, why do we determine that? I don't know.
Because of the email that we received.
Is that accurate, or do we check with legal counsel, because that's accurate?
Oh, the email this morning.
Oh, that one, gotcha.
That is incorrect.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that is incorrect. And Randy, I assume you're gonna address the email you received this morning regarding the posting of the position.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that is incorrect,
That's what I thought.
yeah, but Randy can address the why.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if there was any other reason, given the status of the head principal now, I don't think that there's a need. I personally don't have a need to go into laws, and if others do, obviously that's what I'm here to that.
Okay. All right, so we will move to item 5, which is consideration of resignation of the head principal. So that is the letter we received from Margaret on Sunday night. So I think everybody has seen that by now. So I will then make a motion to accept the, or I should say, does anybody want to make a motion to accept the resignation of Margaret? Second? All right, so it's been moved and seconded to accept the resignation of Margaret as head principal, effective April 10th of 2026. Any discussion? No. Okay. All right, so the question is whether to accept the resignation of head principal Margaret Hagenorn effective April 10th, 2026. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. You got an aye from you, Tom?
You're on mute, Tom.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Now we
You
can.
can.
Aye.
All right, thank you. So, ayes have it, motion carries. So the next item is the consideration and approval of the contract for an executive director and in conjunction with that, employment of John Wu. That contract, I know I had sent it out to you several days ago to review. It has also now been attached to the agenda, the same thing you had all received. So would anybody like to make a motion to accept or to approve the contract for the LCCA? We need to use in separate motions.
I don't think we need to, but I don't think it's necessary because it's
Specific.
specific.
Yeah.
In the opinion, so I should think
That's good. So consideration and, would anybody like to make a motion for the consideration and approval of contract for for executive director and employment of John Wu.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
So, it's been moved and seconded. Any debate?
Line item 9.4 references when accepted by the head principal. I'm wondering if that's something that needs to be edited or if that was purposeful.
That was.
So I'm just looking at terminology where in some
No,
places
that
it's
was a,
typo.
it was copied and pasted in there from another document, so, yeah, so that I would change.
Okay.
Maybe that should have been, had to be amended first. It should be, but it's, yeah,
Yeah, it was in that letter and
Yes.
then added to this.
it should say what accepted by the executive director.
Yeah. So I'll make that
Think
change.
about it.
Yeah.
Thank you for catching that. I just had a few thoughts I just wanted to share, and then part of this too is, the question that came up this morning, there was an email, the first candidate that's really stepped forward here, and why wasn't this job posted, did it need to legally be posted? So we had consulted with legal counsel on that prior to starting any of this, and that we didn't have any legal obligation to publicly post this position. The citation that was referenced in the email didn't apply in this case, and I did email the person back and let them know, and they just thank us for the information. So, and I just want to give you the kind of reiterate. I know some of you know these things, but the reason that I just think John is a great fit for this position and why we accepted this without a comprehensive search outside is that this is a unique opportunity. So some of the reasons, and I jotted them down here, were, first, John is, known and respected by the LCCA community, obviously, as a, former parent and former board member, and also has an existing relationship with Margaret. Now, since Margaret had since resigned, maybe not as important, but I think even during this transition period to have that relationship is going to be really helpful. John, highly educated, as we all know, attended MIT and also the Phillips Exeter Academy prior to that. John, as we've also learned, was very passionate about education, really believes in the Hillsdale values and Hillsdale curriculum. A big thing, and for anybody who's we've seen the contract, and anybody else who will see the contract, John was willing to accept this position for the same salary that we had slotted for an advancement director position. So John agreed to accept those advancement director responsibilities along with the executive director. So essentially this will result in no budget impact to LCCA. So that of course wasn't the reason, but certainly a great benefit to the school. John has fundraising and real estate experience, which we think can really help our One Campus initiative, which stalled a little bit here since our initial one didn't come to fruition. So I think that'll be a huge help. John has extensive leadership and people development experience in both his own organizations and some large, well-known organizations as well. John has a strong financial and banking background. John, actually his degree, which I learned, was in computer science. We all know John's pretty tech savvy, and maybe that's where it all started. But I think that's really helpful for us. We do have Eric, who's also very proficient in that area, and now Matthew as well. But to really have someone there day to day that can really help us be an efficient organization and dedicate our time where we'll add the most value, I think that'll be another great benefit for us. John, as we've learned, is a great listener, a humble person, in identifying the gifts of others, for their God-given gifts. And I know one of the things John said, not during this process, but I remember him saying it back maybe during our strategic planning, which really stuck with me, and I just thought it sort of encapsulated his mentality. He said, every room, or every meeting I'm in, I want to walk in there with the attitude that I'm the dumbest person in the room, because if I don't, I may be bypassing an opportunity to learn something from somebody else. So that always stuck with me, and I think that really is how we see John behave. And we all know it's not true, by the way. Just a mentality. And then, you know, I really think, just given John's credentials, you know, I don't think we could really, it'd be hard enough to find somebody like this, but much less afford somebody like this if, you know, in the public sector, and a public sector salary with, you know, with someone willing to really put the mission of the school over money. So, you know, I'm probably not telling you anything you know here, but I just thought it'd be good to sort of reiterate these reasons why we think this is a great thing for the school.
No comment about that. One other question for you around 1.4 non-interference. So is this position subject to the board? And question whether that line item is otherwise.
Yes, John reports to the board.
That line item doesn't change that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we had, Ellen was closely involved in this,
Yeah.
and Chrissy was very, very much involved line by line with this, and we did it very closely. Other questions, thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're at a unique time in the school's growth, where we're lucky to have someone like John step forward and kind of help now that we're in a year 4 or 5, you know, literally started around the kitchen table, and now it's growing and it needs, you know, the structure, of course, just like any other organization that grows and has a little more time, needs some more modification to its organization, and things change, and I think that that's just where we're at right now. I hope that Margaret, who did an amazing job with the academics, would have stayed to see how it worked, but I respect and understand her position. And just want to thank her for the time that she put in and her passion too for this school. That, you know, there's been a lot said in the last 24 hours about what's happening, and we all know the truth of things, and just helping to stay offline is all I'll say. It's so true.
Yeah. No,
True in many respects of life.
would have been ideal had she decided to stay on, but understand her decision, obviously.
Yeah.
Tom, do you have anything from your end? Just want to make sure we don't miss it if you do.
Yeah, I do. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
A few things. First of all, I want to echo what Alan said, and I think I've been pretty vocal about how important Margaret Hagedorn has been to the school, our school standing, the success of the school, the team that she built there, and sadly, you know, with respect to the truth, has been a casualty in all of this. And I think it is important, you know, that the board states that we had all hoped that she would remain at the school. So, Ellen, I'm glad you said that, and I definitely echo that sentiment. My only question, and you might have already talked about this, you know, when you're on my side of the call, sometimes there's crosstalk, but I just want to make sure that we address, there was an email sent by some people on the staff of the school this morning requesting a face-to-face meeting. We sent it about 10 o'clock, and I'm reading from it. Discuss the qualifications of the proposed executive director. We have needs. We want to make sure that those needs are heard. I'm wondering, hoping everybody read this, and I think we should discuss how we address that vis-a-vis the action that we're considering tonight.
Yeah. So just so you know, I did set up the meeting with that group this afternoon. So at 2 o'clock we had that meeting and had a nice discussion. They shared their some of their concerns, and John obviously couldn't be on the meeting since we didn't vote yet, but if John is approved tonight, he is going to follow up with that group tomorrow with a discussion. So their main concerns were they just wanted to make sure that we knew everything that went into their job. There's just a lot of things day to day that they were concerned that maybe we weren't aware of or did not know about. So that was, among their primary concerns. So we discussed that, and John will be contacting them again tomorrow. I spent about a half hour on the phone with them today as well.
First of all, thank you for dropping everything and doing that, as you have been so diligently doing for a while now. And I guess my only follow-up is, did you kind of tie a bow on that with that group, and are they comfortable with this meeting tonight and that John's gonna contact them? Are you all kind of simpatico?
Yeah, I think so.
Great.
I think it'll help to hear it from John, and it'll help even more to see it happen, what we talked about. So I think it was just understandable when you're making a change like this. Obviously there's some uncertainty, and I think they just wanted to make sure that their concerns were heard and we were aware of them.
Great, I'm good. That was all I had.
Okay, thanks. I sent a letter or email to the faculty, just a brief after Margaret announced her resignation. And I just did it from me, and I just wanted the faculty and staff just to know we were on top of things and did it that quickly. And then we also, there will be a meeting tomorrow that Margaret has arranged for us. That will be staff and faculty as well after school. So again, assuming John is approved, he will be present, and I'll be there just at least introduce John. So it'll be about a half-hour meeting, but Margaret has arranged that for us, so that'll be at West End this year. And then the last thing I had just wanted to make sure everybody was okay with is I thought a communication now to the parents, just after tonight's meeting, I thought a communication to parents, just something brief, would be approved from the board.
For sure.
And then John, would have, again, if approved, will have the ability then to send something as well and outline in more detail his plan. But I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay if I did sort of a general letter just announcing this change from the board. I know word gets around pretty quickly, but there's often a group that is not aware of some of these things, maybe those that are on social media. So I thought that would be good to get that letter out. So I just want to make sure you're all okay with that.
Yeah, we can delegate to you sending that
Okay.
out.
Okay. And then you don't need to vote on that, right? That's. Okay. All right. Then any other discussion before we vote on the executive director and contract and for joining? So the question is whether to approve the contract for executive director with the modification that on 9.4 that Matthew had noted earlier, and approve the employment of John Wu. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Dom?
Aye.
All right, opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Welcome, John Wu. Anybody like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Moved and seconded, meeting adjourned at 6:21 p.m.